Telling them great. Ask me how I did it, I telling them grace. Yeah, hey. Ask me how I did it.
Ryan Curran, what's up?
What's going on?
Welcome to the podcast. What do you think of our set?
Thanks for having me. I love it.
Great, right?
I told you I almost tried to buy this house, and then you did, and you deserve it. It's great. It's beautiful.
Listen, it was Trevor West. Really, I give him the
Yeah.
shout out of tracking the guy down.
Yeah.
We actually went and shook him down at his office.
Yeah.
I knocked on his door and his assistant was nervous.
Yeah.
And then he took us out to the shed and there was one chair only. And I'm like, this guy seems kind of crazy. He's just like a skinhead. He looks like he's militant. I'm like, I don't know what this guy's deal is. And then he asked me to show him my bank account more or less, that I had the money to buy it, and I did. And I gave him the whole vision about how I wanted to use it for events and my kids. And for 6 more months, we just kind of talked. He was going through some personal stuff in his life, and we ended up here, and I feel so blessed, especially the way real estate has gone.
Yeah.
But when we got here, this whole area was huge, tall grasses and big old dead trees. So we knocked down about 12 trees and built the whole podcast set. And I was going to be really sad if we didn't get the podcast back going again, because we put a lot of money into this and a lot of energy. And we're excited to keep going.
No, it's a great setup. I love it.
So we met at the gym, Atlantic Club. I meet so many people over there.
Yeah.
You're in real estate. You've done some land deals.
Yes.
All different types of deals, which we're going to get into.
Yep.
You've had some struggles in your life that you had to overcome, which I love, a great comeback story. And I think you're probably still working on that because you look to improve all the time. So we're just going to chop it up.
All right.
Hear your story.
Before we do that, I have to read something for you.
I'll read
It's
it.
very appropriate for the time.
Read it.
Under the advice of my attorneys, I will invoke my right under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution to refrain from answering your questions. So be ready.
Listen, that poor guy, if that wasn't a full admission of guilt,
That was unbelievable.
I don't know what else would be.
That was unbelievable. But let's do it.
Bad guy. Hopefully karma and the big guy upstairs works his way. Anyway, I don't want to get too deep into politics that fast.
Not yet.
So, born and raised in Wall. Grew up, mom and dad in the home. Not that we
Yeah.
get super personal.
Yeah, they still live in the same house I grew up in. I
Siblings?
used to play Little League right across the street over here.
It's still the best little
Yeah.
league. I mean, I
Yeah.
actually give South Wall and whoever runs that such kudos, because not only do they turn over all the teams internally in the town, but they also have travel teams coming there from all over. They do an excellent job. We got a rain cancellation. They got the next field open. They do such an incredible job over there at
Yeah,
South
it's a
Wall.
great program.
So, sports guy, siblings,
2 brothers, 2 younger brothers.
2 younger brothers. So I grew up in a house, 3 boys,
Yep.
Irish family,
Irish family. Irish Catholic.
beating the shit out of each other, having fun, what young
Having
boys
fun.
do.
Yeah.
And you're in Wolf entire life?
Other than when I went to the Princeton of the Pine Barrens, the Richard Stockton College of New Jersey. Yes, I've been in Walmart my whole life until recently. I spent some time in Asbury Park in my older years, in 2008 to 2023, and then I moved to Farmingdale section of Howell.
Nice. So I don't need to spend a ton of time on your childhood, but your childhood in your eyes was a good childhood, and you grew up in a great area and you were thumped.
Great mother and father, great upbringing. Yeah, great neighborhood. Went Allenwood School, Wall Intermediate, Wall High School.
How did you do in high school, academically, and what were you focused on?
I did pretty good. I was always.
That cigar does smell good, by the way.
It's a great cigar. I would say that one of my favorite things to say is the best thing I've ever done is not pay attention in school.
Yeah. Agreed.
I had great teachers, great education system. It didn't excite me. I did the bare minimum to get through, really, honestly, and I still got probably mostly B's and A's, but I never challenged myself academically. I just wasn't more interested in looking out the window and seeing what people were doing at recess than paying attention. But I guess I paid attention enough to pick some stuff up, but being a student that's not my thing.
Yeah, I feel the same. And again, it's hard to have one size fits all with the public education. I've talked about that a ton on the podcast, but this is about you. I won't get into that. So get out of high school. What were you doing? Were you heading out to Stockton? Did you have some type of thought of exactly what you wanted to do? Was it real estate? Was it business?
My idea of Stockton, I didn't have the best motives, I guess. I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I knew that they had a business program, and I figured business management was just like your right down the middle degree that was versatile, whatever. My best friend growing up throughout high school and stuff was going to be my roommate. His older brother, who's to this day still one of my best friends, and some of his buddies.
Want to give him a love? Give him a good shout out.
They were going to be seniors in that class, so like we knew some older classmen at the school. We had visited there, and it seemed like a good time. You know, I kind of wanted to go there to party and you know, whatever. Getting the best education was not
top priority
on my priority list.
I would venture to say that most college kids are on the same thought track.
Yeah, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was very...
So what happened when you went there? What was going on? Just partying?
Yeah, I mean, part of my story, which, you know, you talked about whatever adversity or overcoming things was, I mean, I got into some dumb shit when I was in my mid to late teens going into college. And
What type of dumb shit?
well, I'll start off by saying, like, I was raised very well where my parents didn't tolerate, you know, really underage drinking and smoking weed and whatever, other substances and partying. So, like, when I got dropped off at college, it was like you let the animal out of the cage. I believe I was born an alcoholic and an addict. Mm-hmm. And it was like I was finally out in the wild, able to do what I wanted to do unsupervised, and it was a fucking shit show, you know.
You got into all the fun games.
I had unbelievable amounts of fun until consequences showed up in my 5th year, and I was politely asked several times to leave that school, not for academics, but for just fuckery. And
get in trouble and bullshit.
Yeah, drinking too much, crashing cars, you know, you name it, just stupid.
Now, did you have any criminal issues at that time during college duration, or?
No, I mean, I had a couple like misdemeanor
fights, whatever.
Drinking in public, noise violation for being too drunk or whatever. No, nothing crazy.
So you finally walked away. Did you graduate from there?
So from 2000 to the first semester of 2005. So I finished 4 full years, but I had to take a 5th year because I had a double minor that added classes on to my schedule or whatever. So the first semester of my 5th year is when I was asked nicely to leave. So I did not finish, and that's when like shit got bad. I was like.
Did you ever finish college credits?
I did. So after a couple visits in and out of the local county jail and
you're getting ahead of the story. We're gonna get there.
Rehab and some other consequences, I went back in 2010 when I got my life back together, and I did end up finishing those classes. Yeah, but it was a 5-year hiatus.
We talked about this on the last show, and I've talked about it a lot. Do you believe college is overrated and you could be doing what you're doing now without it?
I think unless you're hyper focused, like I say this to people with kids that are that age, like if you know you want to be a veterinarian, you have to go to veterinarian school. Mm-hmm. If you know you want to cure cancer, you need to find an oncology program. Yeah. If you have no idea what you're going to do, like I didn't, I don't know.
I always say
I would say nowadays,
doctor, engineer, lawyer.
Yeah, unless you need some specific laser focus in life, and that's, you know, that's what you were born.
And that school produces
that's your purpose in life, because I believe that that's what everyone should try to do, is find their actual purpose in life. That's your purpose in life, then yes, you have no choice. That's the way the system is built. If you don't know, I don't know if it hurts to go out and figure it out a little bit. I mean, it doesn't always help when you need to check certain boxes.
The problem is it's expensive to go figure it out.
It is expensive.
I think you can figure it out knocking around with your friends and drinking in the woods.
I think community college is underrated, and I think taking a year off to just figure it out is underrated, as long as you're doing it for the right reason and you're not going off the deep end.
So again, I don't want to breeze over your adversity, because I think people should hear that maybe is going through it themselves or recently gone through it. And not that we have to spend a ton of time, but what is your purpose? What did you find your purpose was?
At that time,
Yeah.
I don't know if I had one.
Say, what is it now?
Now, today,
Is it just dad?
I mean, I think
owner?
the biggest gift that I've ever gotten is sobriety. I've been sober for 18 something years.
God bless.
A relationship with God, and then being a father. Without sobriety, there's none of this other shit. None of this other stuff would have ever happened for me. I'd be dead or in jail, 100%. But now it's being a father and trying to leave them an easier path at life. And I have actually kind of just like through altruism and taking my time, kind of like letting opportunity fall in my lap rather than me say, hey, this is what I want to be and this is what I'm going to do. I kind of organically let things happen in my life. And
we talked about this a couple weeks
when
ago.
opportunity falls in my lap, which it has, I mean, my whole career has been like one sequence of events where I did not know I wanted to start chasing Amazon fulfillment centers around. An opportunity was put in front of me and I was like, I fucking like this. This is exciting. I was doing just regular residential real estate at the time. Mm-hmm. I was making money. It was putting food on the table. I didn't love it. Wasn't passionate about it. Then I got a cold call out of nowhere from some woman in Florida that asked me to check some piece of property out. And it was like, I knew that was a sign from God. Like, this is a gift from me to you.
I have an actual question about that whole situation and how you saw that and other people didn't, but I want to highlight that. Let's go back to your struggles. So you leave college, give us a little bit of a general overview of what was going on in your life. You don't have to be super...
Yeah, I mean, without getting into graphic details, like I was just, that whole lifestyle. I loved partying, I loved chasing the girls, I loved the fast money, so I had these import-export businesses going on that were nefarious.
Mm-hmm. What could they have been?
Yeah, right. But then, like, that whole lifestyle, the chase, the juice that comes with that, I just loved it. And it also gave me this sense that I had full control over my world, who I let in, who I let out, which I didn't realize that about myself until later on, doing some soul searching and stuff like that. But
it's a big deal to not just have open arms to everybody.
Yeah, I ran a really tight circle, a tight wolf pack of people, and like I had the most fun I ever had in my life. A lot of it was during that time period, but then at some point the fun stopped, and I became my best customer. I was drinking around the clock. I always tell people that don't understand, I'm like, you ever seen Leaving Las Vegas where Nicolas Cage is drinking warm vodka in the shower and he's shaking and he'd throw some up and then he'd chug some down and he'd throw some up. There'd be some blood in the puke. Like, that's how I woke up every day at the end. It was fucking miserable.
It's horrible.
I was going to die.
Yeah.
Or do something stupid and end up incarcerated for the rest of my life.
These ashes really seem to be attracted to my face the last 2 episodes.
That's why I wear a hat.
Yeah.
But
that is a sick hat. Thank you for the hat.
Yeah, no problem. But
yeah, You went through it. You hit rock bottom.
Yeah, I ended up getting, caught doing some stupid stuff. I got way in over my skis just by chance or fault. Like, I got involved with some people that I had no business being involved with.
Powerful people that you probably shouldn't.
Yeah, and they liked me because I was trustworthy, and you were
real.
I knew how to keep my mouth shut, and I always came back with what I was sent off with, right? So there was levels of trust there. So we had a thing going on, and I got caught doing that shit, and then I was like, you know what? I had to do some time, and I was like, I have to stop doing drugs. Drugs are a problem for me, and it's obviously ruining my life. I picked up a book while I was incarcerated called A Purpose-Driven Life. I forget who wrote it. Some guy, Warren. And I read that. It's one of the only books I've ever read in my life. I'm not a big reader. I probably read less than 5 books my entire life, cover to cover. And that gave me some ideas of, like, I need to find a purpose. And
North Star.
Doing drugs is not it. So, but I did convince myself, but when I get out of here, I can still drink alcohol. And I got out of jail, and I got 3 DWIs in 18 months. I lost my driver's license in 2008. Until 2018, I got 10 years loss of license, which is life-changing, insane.
Yeah, that sucks.
I did not drive during that time period at all, which most people do. I did not. I was like, there's no way.
So now that you brought it up, I was doing some research on you, and part of what was scraped off the internet was this guy came out into the real estate not knowing this world, with no license, and was able to go attack real estate and find success. Tell me how, right? So someone, whether it was drugs, incarceration, or just fucking down on your luck. You went to college for something specific, you came out, your corporate job was dog shit, and you're just low, right? You're somebody who's just in a bad place right now.
Yeah.
How did you pick yourself up and say, I'm gonna go do this. I'm gonna accomplish everything that I said I'm destined to be, chasing this new purpose?
I just always believed in myself. Even in my lowest, I knew that I had potential.
You can figure it out.
Yeah, and we talked about this offline. Like, I think some people are just born with a gift that you can just do it. You just wake up and that's who you are. You can figure out sales. You can figure out how to open businesses.
You're a killer.
Yeah. It's just some people have it and others don't, and that's fine. But I don't know. It's I got the best job.
How old were you?
So I was like 26, I think, when I started.
So we're done with jail. We're done with rehab.
Somewhere around there. I'm not good with the timeline around that. It was a little foggy still, brain-wise.
But let's just say generally you were over the bullshit.
I put a good probably 6 years in, though, just caddying. I was walking around in circles carrying people's golf clubs at a golf course. But I sobered up. I had my life together from that moment on. I would show up on time. I would do my job. I would be able to look people in the eye, shake their hand, get to know people, have real relationships with really successful guys. I get to spend a lot of time with a lot of these entrepreneurial people that, have stories themselves, and they liked my story. And one day someone gave me a shot at doing something, and I noticed that. So my dream initially was
real quick before you go any further, not to cut you off, but that's a big thing that if you're watching this podcast, and there's a huge entitlement with the young generation that they don't think they should go be a bartender or a waiter or be of service or do something like a caddy. How much information do you sit there and compile just sitting there in a foursome of dudes who are worth anywhere from $10 million to $150 million and all run companies or are somewhere high up in the company or they're the owner themselves?
Yeah.
How much information did you pick up?
A ton of it. Just body language and attitude and stuff like that is valuable. Yeah, relationship building, the dog and pony show shit that goes on out there. Entertaining, just listening to guys and I really got to know people. I mean, I worked 8 days a week at this place from sundown to sunup. Nobody worked more hours than
If I
me.
could tell the young generation one thing, if you're somebody watching the show, get back to the basics and get back to old shit. Do the things at 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I don't give a shit. You're at college and you're coming home for the summer. Dude, get out there on the golf course. Caddy. I mean, that's one of the top ones. Go bartend. Learn to communicate with people. Everybody's online nowadays. They don't know how actually have real conversation.
I was caddying probably 6 or 8 months into opening up my own business because I didn't want to go to the bank for money, and I didn't have any sales closed yet. So I'm like working 2, 3 full-time jobs at once. And now I interview people and they're like, oh, I want to do what you did. Like, no, you don't. A, you don't, and B, you couldn't do what I did.
Pay me a salary.
Yeah.
And then we're the bad guys when we tell them like, hey, you don't have what it takes. You can't cut it, or you're being soft. We're horrible people, but they don't know what it takes to get where you are. So you did the caddying. You were doing real estate.
Probably like 6 years in to caddying, I got licensed in real estate.
Just residential?
And at this time, I like to throw this caveat in there too. My family, which is great, my mother and father were great. My brothers and I had great relationships. There was a lot of damage there because of me and my addiction and my behavioral issues.
Yeah.
Well,
when one person's on the drugs, the whole family's sucked in.
People stroking checks for me and helping me out, those days were over. So I'm now
I should get them a Stroking Checks t-shirt today.
Maybe, yeah. But I'm now in the wild, so like I have to grind it just to pay the landlord and put food on the table for myself. So I don't have my safety net is now gone.
And you're trying to prove yourself too to your family. You don't want to go back to the bank anymore of them.
I don't even know if it was that, but I didn't have a choice. It was it, no matter what. It was.
And no kids or anything at the time, right?
No kids. No, it was just me. I moved to Asbury Park in 2008, which is right around the same time that I started getting my life together. But the reason I moved to Asbury Park was because I had no driver's license, and it was way easier for me to get around. And it's more of a city, so I couldn't plop myself in the middle of the woods in Wall Township and get freaking.
And back then, Uber wasn't a thing.
No, Uber was not invented yet. That came along in year 7, and I instantly became one of their greatest customers at the time. Yeah. No, it was nuts. It was the Johnny Babes and,
Johnny Babes with the violin?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, he was a great guy. Didn't he pass away a couple years ago?
That's what I heard. That's sad, yeah.
Yeah.
But, that guy. And
hilarious.
Need a Ride, Jackie from Need a Ride, she used to pick me up around the clock and help me
Briggs
get to work.
Taxi.
It's like people ask, it's funny because now people come to me for training and stuff like that, and do this and do that and make it hard. It's like, dude, I did all this shit with no driver's license, felony convictions. I was working from sun up till sundown, and I still figured out to manage my time and get from here to here to here to here to here.
And you guys have social media.
And you can't even get to the office by noon.
So what do you think that is? What do you think it is?
I don't know.
I know it's easy to say entitlement, but what?
I wish I knew the answer to that, because if I knew the answer to that, I'd be able to train people out of it. I think my opinion is you're either born to follow purpose and you're a killer, or you're not.
Now, let's just say someone wants to be a killer and someone's so determined and they're not willing to give up. Can we train them in it if they don't give up?
I think so, but they need to listen, and then they need to take action.
Yeah, a lot of times the listening piece is going so against their comfortability.
People love to ask me for help and then tell me how to help them.
I know.
And then it's like, yeah, this is not going well.
This is not how this works.
And then it's like, well, you asked me for help, now you're telling me how to help you, and now you're not taking the action. You're just going to call 3 more people until you hear the answer you want. And that doesn't...
Kind of like when people sign up for my coaching group and they ask me to hold them accountable, and then I'm the bad guy when
they shop for answers, yeah. And then you're the jerk off, yes.
Mm-hmm. So, how did real estate take off? It was mainly residential?
I was still, like I said, I was still caddying like literally 8 days a week.
We talked about caddying a lot. Let's move on from caddying.
I started doing the residential, and even year 1, and we talked about this on the phone a few days ago, like I had no experience, I had no sales, and I mean, you know that market because you have a lot of those people in your ecosystem. Everybody's sister or aunt or brother or mom is a realtor. Is a realtor. So,
which is why I hate the industry, by the way.
Because of how I showed up to work on time and formed real relationships with these guys, and they saw me
hustling,
raise my hand to go back out a second time when most people are home at the beach or smoking pot with their friends or whatever. They see me doing this thing. Some of these guys were like, dude, I have a story like that, and my mom or my sister is a realtor, but like you deserve this. I'm gonna help you out. If you sell my $2 million house, or I'm gonna buy my waterfront property, you're gonna make 40 grand, and that's gonna give you like a little bit of a booster, because I would love to see you get the off this golf course one day, because you deserve it.
Now, was there a guy that actually did that to you?
There was multiple guys that did that, yeah.
So this is the thing that people don't realize that's extremely important, and that's like, what a great thing to do to help a guy, right? And it probably touched you fucking
100%.
big time at the time, that, wow, these guys I look up to that belong to this private country club are believing in me. I tell people all the time, they're like, why do you lay your shit on the line? Why are you vulnerable? Why are you this? Because somebody out there that's in a successful position is sitting there going, I walk the same parallel path to that kid. You know what he wants to do? He wants to fucking help me.
Yeah.
So everybody wants to look picture perfect, especially with social media nowadays, and no one's owning their shit. No one's really organically, authentically sharing their journey. And you were. Obviously, you shared some stories with these guys, and they
they loved it. They liked the fact that I told them the truth, and like, dude, I'm coming out of the swamp. and they could see the slow incline. They loved it. They're like,
that
dude,
builds trust.
yeah, this is a great story. This kid's got his life together. He was in fucking dungeons, and now he's doing the right thing. He's trying to make a living for himself, and like, this guy deserves a shot. You know, he shows up every
There's many
day.
drug addicts in my life that don't deserve a shot.
There's a ton of them.
And they know who they are because I see their trajectory. I see what they do. I see their manipulation, their lies. But then there's these people who have struggled with drugs or alcohol. You see them go take off, and they ascend fast. And you go, that one's going to make it. And, you know, people aren't sitting there going like, oh, we shouldn't help. Fucking, you know, this guy, he's not, you were doing it. You were putting in the work. You were out there. You were getting yourself into real estate, doing something that was new to you. So getting to the real estate piece, you have 3 different lines of real estate from what I could tell. You have title, you have a residential kind of brokerage type of thing, and then you have commercial and land development, entitlement, I guess you would call it, right?
Well, it's really brokerage. So I own and operate the holding company, Curran Holding Company. That owns four different entities. One is Curran Group Real Estate Services, which is the same as a Remax or a Keller Williams or whatever. It's a residential firm. We're just obviously a boutique because it's smaller. I got about 40 people under management there. I have Curran Commercial. It's just me and one other girl. We primarily do industrial real estate development, although we've done a lot of other stuff too. And I do some big national home developer type stuff as well. I own Smart Title Insurance Company, which is a title insurance company. Our bread and butter is single family homes, but I mean, we've done deals as big as $130 million for Rockefeller and Mitsubishi, which are 2 of the biggest companies on planet Earth. So we've gotten ourselves in some really good position. And then I have Curran Property Group, which just holds a couple little assets that I've acquired over my lifetime, which that hopefully one day will turn into something bigger. That's the goal. I just went through some personal stuff, which you are aware of, that I don't really want to get into on the podcast, that reset my financial situation a little bit, but I will at some point get more into the development. But my personal niche, where I make most of my money, and I think is my purpose, I've put together some incredible land development sites as a broker. And when people ask me, what does that mean? It's like I'm the genesis, which is great because I have control of the whole deal.
You're quarterbacking the whole deal.
Yeah, I go approach a soybean farmer in South Jersey, or some guy that owns a beat up coal mine in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and I knock on their door and I say, I notice your land is zoned for X, and how do you feel about farming? And they're always like, that's how I eat. That's how my son is going to eat. That's how his son is going to eat. And then I'm like, what if I brought you a institutional group that will stroke you a check for $40 million? And they're like, I fucking hate farming, and I don't want to see my son go through what I went through. And by the time his son gets it, it's going to be spread so thin that there's going to be no money left.
So this is not really about real estate, but my ADD is working. When I was in Ireland, I just got back, we went and saw this Irish farmer who was showing us how his sheepdogs work to, herd the sheep. This guy was so miserable. He was a miserable bastard. He's like, I'm 7th generation. There was nothing proud about him saying 7th generation. And what's tough is we want farming in America. We don't want plant-based foods built into a warehouse by Bill Gates. I definitely don't want to feed my kids those blueberries. But to some people, you're on the 3rd or 4th generation, you're land rich, you're cash poor, you're out there slinging farm shit.
When it starts, the first guy has no partners. When he has 4 kids and they take it over, they have 3 partners.
You got to feed 4
so
families.
That pile of money gets spread.
Yep.
And now, unfortunately, I agree with you. We need farming, and we need to do it here. In New Jersey, you're not farming at an institutional level. They're barely making money.
Yeah.
These guys get beat the shit out of them. They talk about, and this was before the tariff talk and everything else, that market ebbs and flows like crazy. Sometimes they're selling soybeans to China and making money, and sometimes they're breaking even, and they got a $400,000 compounding machine that they just bought or whatever it's called, and they break even for the year, and it's like their whole job is controlling water. Yeah. Name someone that can control water on Earth, and I'll
figure out how to get water. We had a beef guy on from Colorado.
But a lot of these guys love it. Like, it's funny because
it's their blood.
I just had this conversation because one of my
Let's pause real quick because I had to the bathroom.
Yeah.
and I want to get back to it. You talk about the mentality of a farmer. What does that mean to you, especially working with these people, putting together deals?
No, so it's funny. So like some of these guys, it's in their blood. They love it. Like two of the biggest deals I've ever done, these guys walked away with enough money where like they could live on an island, and their grandkids and their grandkids' will be secure.
Instead, they bought another farm.
After the sale is done, he's like, "Can you help me find another farm?" And I'm like, "I'm gonna find you a therapist because you're done, dude. Like, I want to know that one day I can retire, and you're not giving me much hope right now because you're just gonna go and do what you've been doing your whole life."
A lot of these guys,
and now you don't need to.
They don't know how to reinvent themselves.
But that's what he said. He's like, "I love it. I love sitting in the combine.
Yeah.
I love being up with the birds. I love the sunrise. I love the sunset." He's like, I love it. He's like, it's in my blood. It's in my DNA, and I'm gonna like basically die doing this. I'm like, "You're fucking sick, but like, if that's what makes you happy, if that's your purpose, then good for you." And they did it, and they love it. I still think they should go to therapy, but that's a whole nother. That's my opinion.
Well, we all need therapy. So I did a little research on you. Not that I don't know you, and we chatted a good amount, but I've seen some references of yourself that you're like the king of South Jersey farmland.
I told you that.
No, you didn't tell me that. I got it off the internet. I can show you on Claude. Right?
Yeah.
So you had this 40 deal on State Highway 40.
Yeah.
That was this piece of land that no one else was really messing with, and you had been hearing or thinking Amazon's going to come to the area, and you were telling a bunch of people about it, and no one really wanted to bite on it. How did you know Amazon was going to pick that lot of land?
I have no idea. So at that time, that was right after some woman who I don't even know, she had to be 80 years old, never met her in my life, saw me on LinkedIn. We must have been connected because I'm a salesperson. I just accept everybody. Never met her, have no idea who she is. Still to this day, I've never met her.
You're like a silent assassin on LinkedIn, huh?
She's cold calls me and was like, "I see you on LinkedIn. I like that you post stuff. I want you to help me with this." And she gives me this piece of land that's in Salem County, which it's literally, you can see the Delaware Bridge from this property. It's like that far. It's an hour and 40 minutes away. I have no driver's license at the time. My friend Matt at the time just happens to be like, he's a big commercial real estate appraiser. I was like, "Dude, can you help me with this and go down and look at this? Because this looks interesting. It's like right by the turnpike, and it looks like a pretty big piece of land." So he drives me down. We look at it. The second we got out of the car, we literally both looked at each other and like, "This is a fucking Amazon. Like, there's no way this is not going to be an Amazon." And I now at this point know nothing about industrial real estate, but I pay attention and I see these Amazon fulfillments popping up. This is like right when Amazon probably got into like Hamilton, which is, exit 8 that services this whole area still to this day. They like just made their splash.
Our area is serviced by Neptune now.
Right, yeah, but it feeds in from there.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was like right when next day delivery became like their big new thing, right? So,
which, by the way, is absolutely insane how they do that.
It's insane.
Like, I'll be in the mountains and they can like get me like on a 2-day still.
It's completely insane. But so then the one guy wasn't ready to sell because he must have had some agreement with some other broker, but he didn't tell me that for like a year. So I followed up. The one piece where the guy was ready was landlocked and it was too small to do anything. But I kept following up every couple months, and then eventually this guy called me back. He's like, "Hey, you've been following up and I want you to look at this. I'm ready now."
So this is 2 parcels of land?
It started off as 2, and then
2 separate owners.
I noticed just instinctually or whatever, like, why would I not just go knock on the rest of these people's doors and see if I can make this the whole block? Because the bigger the better, why not? So I went in.
So give us a visual. So you said the whole block, there was houses there along the
Yeah,
part of
those 2 properties together was probably only like 30 acres. By the end, I think there was 6 different sellers.
So you convinced people to sell their
plus
homes.
9 homes. So there was probably 9 pieces. Well, there was 6 homes, but they were more farms. And then there was just 3 houses. So I think there was 9 pieces, and it ended up being like 180 acres.
But still, that's 9 different transactions into
one shot.
That's not easy. That's a lot of deals that could, obviously.
Well,
go
they were all
bust.
under one contract by the time things got going. But I went and knocked door to door, and every person gave me the same answer. I was like, hey, I'm marketing these 2 properties, but it probably wouldn't hurt if we all got together. And every one of them was like, oh, there's a price for everything, I'm like, well, you don't have to sell unless it's worth your while. And they're like, yeah, we have nothing to risk. Why not? So, someone whose house is probably worth $200,000 if they marketed it online, I don't think anyone walked away with less than, I forget, maybe close to $2 million minimum. So these people were happy as a pig in shit when I actually showed up with a buyer.
It's an influx of cash they would have never saw.
Influx of cash they would have never saw. And because they sold it to one developer that had a bigger vision, their value went up, 10x of what it should have been. That's a once in a lifetime opportunity. How do you say no to that, right? I mean, someone came here and offered you 25 million for this tomorrow, you take it. You got to be an idiot not to, right? Unless you really love it that much. But
I do love it, but if they came with 6 million, they could have it.
Yeah, you could just go buy the next one next door and do the same thing, right?
I don't think they have this property here. I am very lucky, but I could find ways to put the money to work and be happy.
But like the next part of that story is like, so the guy that came along,
So here, just real quick, I want to ask you. At that time, were you also shopping for the developer and the investor?
yeah, so I was trying to find the developer by just doing my own homework of like who are industrial warehouse developers, and I was cold calling people. I packaged up stuff with the zoning.
Surprised Amazon doesn't have its own internal team.
They're not easy to get a hold of unless you have a contact in there. By design, they don't want people just spamming the shit out of them. But I put together a package that I figured, like, if someone was to send this to me, would I open it and look at it? And it is easy.
So pitch deck?
Yeah. So I created a pitch deck that I knew that if someone looked at it, they would know within 5 seconds if this was worth their time or not. And I started sending it around. And there was only a couple people at that time that were like looking that far South Jersey. At 7A was like where
Cutoff point.
that market stopped. And then there was like a couple existing places that served Philadelphia, but they'd been there forever and they were little. There was nothing big down there. So this guy who's now one of my best friends, Bo Farkas, he just left a big development firm and started his own thing, which was like such a good gift for both of us. Because no one knew who the I was, because I'm not JLL or Cushman & Wakefield or CBRE, and there's not this huge network of blabbermouths to get everything out. And he's just stepped out. So there's 2 guys with a vision. He came from big enough firms where he had the expertise and the experience and the vision to know what to do.
And the clout.
Yeah, and the clout. Yeah, he could go to the institutional market and someone's going to back the guy or partner with him or whatever, which is what happened. But because it was him, no word got out. So once he came in, and I asked him from the start, I'm like, dude, I'm in love with this product. Like, this is who I want to be. You can tell from 5 minutes of interviewing me, I'm a pretty smart guy, but I'm more of blue collar than white collar. I'm a little rough around the edges. So industrial real estate is that's who's in that market. There's really, really smart guys, but a lot of them have a little bit of an edge. So I was like, this is where I fit in this real estate world. I loved it. So I was like, dude, do you care if I kind of peek over your shoulder? I would love to see how this goes. And he's like, yeah, that'd be great. And he introduced me to who his land use attorney was, this guy, Clint Allen from Archer Griner. He's now one of my good friends, a great colleague. We've done so much shit together ever since then. This guy, Kevin Webb from Langen Engineering, he's probably one of the best engineers on the planet. Great guy. And these guys are doing shit. They're building real community and real assets. And I was like, this is just fascinating. The tax rateable, the jobs, the farmer gets rich, the developer gets rich, the broker gets rich. Like, this is like a win-win-win. Everybody's happy at the end. No one's fighting.
It's just finding those deals.
I love
They're
this
few and
shit.
far between.
But because it was him and no one knew about it, I was able to run the table in South Jersey. So once his vision became real and some institutional money came in, and then Amazon signed up and nobody knew shit about it, I went and started knocking on all the doors of all this zone stuff all over the place. And from 2018 to today, I'd have to do the math, but it's somewhere between like 25 and 30 million feet of warehousing we've done. I've done the biggest Amazon in the state. I've done now the second biggest, what will now be the biggest Amazon in the state, which will supersede that, which is going to be the biggest building.
Where's that?
They're all on Route 40 in Kearney's Point. We developed that whole corridor. I mean, it's banana. And then we did all the title insurance for all the DOT right away. DOT had to take 15 feet on each side of the road to make the roads wide. I mean, the whole corridor is now went from farmland to these giant industrial park. It's unbelievable what's going on down there. But
will you get into data centers?
I've been sniffing around data centers. It's very challenging. Politics is very tough. The stupidity of the layman and what they hear on the internet about water pollution.
The chick over in New York, she shut down huge data centers for New York's entire state, which is a huge rev loss. And I'm out there just like everybody else. I don't want flock cameras and spying and data centers, but sometimes the world's adapting and we have a bunch of fear that's kind of made up fear. It's just like when Horse and Buggy left New York City because there was too much shit in the Hudson. We created the Ford Model T. So things do evolve in a positive direction.
I think people don't understand though. It's like if you own one of these,
they already have everything on it.
Like, where do you think your Instagram feed is being stored? Where do you think your Meta feed is being stored? Where do you think your health records are being stored? Where do you think your banking records are being stored? It's like your everyday life stuff, your Instacart, your Amazon orders. It's all getting computed in these servers.
The biggest thing though with the data centers is the electrical pull. So what happens is, let's just say there was one put in Wall, and God forbid Wall Township don't do this. I'd be out in a minute. But let's just say they have a data center put over here in Wall. The electric for the area will go up because it's put on an average of how much electric's being pulled to that data center. So I see some issues as to why people would complain about them, but
so I think
this is the direction the country's headed.
That can happen, but if you have an educated municipality, they can have a conversation with the developer and say, look, you guys are going to be printing money over there. You guys need to absorb all this, and it's a fucking rounding error, and they will do it.
Yeah, I agree.
If the town is like, we haven't had a new fire truck in 50 years, and our school needs new books, the developer is usually like, we can solve that problem. Like, that's all just chitter chatter on the internet. Like, the water circulating systems, they don't suck the water out of the ponds. They're not super loud like this one in Vineland that they keep reporting on that doesn't even have power to the building, so it's not even physically possible that the thing is loud. Somebody's flying a drone or something over top of a microphone. Is all this chitter chatter, it's all bullshit. These things are engineered to be so efficient, and they're great ratables, and there's no traffic. It's just a beautiful building. You wouldn't even know it's there, and it's a homeland security issue as well. Like, we do not want our medical and banking records in India or Dubai or Saudi Arabia.
Well, look what happened during the pandemic.
Because that's where they're putting these things elsewhere, is in other countries. Like, do you want...
This is where we're going, and it's easy for the conspiracy theorists, and, I'm one at times on certain matters. But, everybody's afraid of, like, China. Like, if they don't like you, they're going to shut off your bank account, they're going to debank you. If you don't take the vaccine, people are going to walk next to you. Where the hell did it go?
I'm good, actually.
And they're going to all of a sudden, just take it anyway. They're going to all of a sudden, have something go off in your phone like, guy didn't take vaccine, guy didn't take vaccine. Listen, have we gave up some freedoms for security? Yeah. Have we been lied to about some freedoms for security? Yeah. But this is just the way of the world. I mean, just look at how much data is used. I mean, look at your TV. Look, everything is data now. Like, you need these centers. There's the way of the world.
There's no...
We're not going back to 1950.
It's one of those things where it's like you just need to embrace it. And like the beauty of being in America is that there's so many systems of checks and balances. It's like embrace it and educate yourself and then construct it the right way, right? If the towns get educated and the people get educated, and then, you have the AWSs of the world that know more about this stuff than anybody, they're not the big bad wolf. Like, they're aware of what your concerns are. Listen to them and let them teach you about what they're actually doing. and then ask them, like, hey, can you be considerate about this? And they're going to do it. They're making so much money, it doesn't even matter.
So, real quick, back to AWS and Amazon. Are you working on any current new facilities that are going up?
No, so not with them. So I usually deal with the speculator, right? So the developer never typically has the tenant or end user
Yeah.
in pocket. They typically don't show up until either the roof is up or like it's at very least final approvals, which takes 18 to 24 months in New Jersey, which is a whole nother topic that drives me crazy, but it is what it is. So everything I do is like to someone else that has a vision that says we're going to put in the 18 months worth of work and whatever, $750 to $3 million worth of entitlement risk. And then they're targeting Amazon or they're targeting Walmart, but they don't know if they're going to show up or if Samsung.
They're building to their spec. They're trying to tease them and get them in.
They just know what they need to build, yeah. And all of these guys build the same product. The end buyer ends up being like MetLife or Prudential or a teacher's pension fund or whatever. Like, it's huge capital.
So you have these real estate, what I'll call silos in your business inside the holding company. Someone wants to go into real estate. Obviously, that's a long sales cycle, right? It's getting people to make moves. It's getting people to see your vision. It's getting the state to get on board, the municipalities to get on board, the investor to get on board, the developer to get on board. It's a lot of work, right? And anytime there's a lot of work, there's a lot of money. But you have the brokerage side of the business. And I'm just speaking from my perspective. I'm not putting words in your mouth. But I see these people. They come into real estate, and we talked about the entitled type of salesperson, like, hey, I got to do this, and you got to give me a salary and all this. Are you kind of finding yourself like not wanting to do so much of the residential or managing all those relationships?
I love my residential brokerage. I still do friends and family type of deals on the residential side. Like I have a condo in Belmar listed now for a buddy of mine. He approached me and I said, yeah, sure. I've known you since I was 5 years old and you're a good guy and I want to help you. It's not where my passion is. I love the brokerage. I have a great team of employees that work under me that helps with the training and.
Why is there so much movement in all the brokerage?
Because people like to blame their broker for their own deficiencies. Everyone wants to sit down when I interview them and be like, well, what are you going to do for me? And like, what do you mean, what am I going to do for you? I own a platform for you to operate your business off of. I can give you ideas and I can tell you what I've done to get to where I'm at. But like, I'm not going to just hand you business. And if I do, it's going to cost you.
So in finance, similar to real estate, I could sit on top of this and then all these people clear through me so I take an override.
Yeah.
Which we call it in my business.
Yeah.
Similar to yours. I don't train people and I don't run a team.
No,
I can recruit a ton of people, and here's why. Because the guy who's a killer who can do it, he's going to learn from as fast as you, steal everything he can, and leave.
That's right.
And rightfully so. He should.
Yeah, and that's a great compliment.
And the rest of them are just fucking idiots that barely get by in my business. I'm not speaking for you or putting words in your mouth. Like, I don't have time for that. I'm just going to go out there and get that business myself. I'm going to have one guy like Trevor. I'm going to have my staff. I'm going to have my partners I do business with. I call them strategic partners. I don't need to have my own team. I'll keep my overhead low. And the most important thing for me is I keep my aggravation low. Mm-hmm. Because I see these realtors out there. Yeah, I'm not taking a shot at your team. But I see these realtors. I see what they do. You guys don't even know how to prospect somebody. You don't know how to entertain properly.
Yeah.
You don't do anything to drum up business. You guys just think posting on social media is what's going to get you business. No, and that's a big avenue in that space, but that's not the only thing you got to do.
And some companies that are my competitors, they sell training to their agents. And I'm like, what are you training for? You don't even have a customer. The training is you getting a customer.
I know.
When you get a customer, I will come and I will hold your hand through the whole process. Or one of the people that works for me that gets paid to do that is going to hold your hand through the whole process. That's where you're going to learn. But if you don't know how to have a conversation with someone for them to say, I trust you with my asset, what are we training? You could look at how to do a contract till you're blue in the face. If you don't have someone that's going to actually transact, you're wasting your time.
The last podcast, we were talking to a guy, his buddy developed this AI bots and they're scraping and, everybody and their mother's doing it right now, but supposedly this is a great product. And he's more so going to be inside sales, that the hot lead's going to come and it's going to come to him. And the thing that I like that he said is that there's a human element that's always needed. And it will always be needed in this business. But if you don't know how to communicate with someone, just like you and I are doing today, you are never going to be the closer. You're never going to make the money you want to make. And you guys all want to sit there behind the keyboard or behind ads or behind your mailers and think that that's what's going to grow your business. In any sales business, finance, real estate, accounting, whatever. And it's something that I see a lot in your space. These people rotate from Remax to Reels to this one to that one.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like by the sixth move, do you realize that you're the loser just not putting in the work?
It's always them blaming their broker for what they don't want to do it. So when I see someone's on their third broker, I'm like, I'd rather quality over quantity. I'm a smaller shop. I don't need to have 500 people with their license under me. I'd rather have 30 killers.
So you're training these people?
I don't personally, but I have people on staff that work under me that's what they do, and they're better at it than I am. You know?
Okay, so one of the things that I found on you online is that you called yourself the LinkedIn assassin.
Did I really?
I mean, somewhere,
That's awesome.
right?
Maybe.
So a lot of people like myself, I think LinkedIn sucks. I think everybody's become an expert. We talked about this in the last podcast. I don't need to repeat it, but it just doesn't work as well as Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, even for me. So why are you finding LinkedIn in the real estate space to be successful for you, and what are others not doing there?
I've said it for years. Like, I think LinkedIn is highly overlooked and highly underrated. I personally, and I read and I hear and I talk to people, and they're like, oh, you know, if people aren't interacting, you're not in the algorithm. I find that to not be true, because I feel like so many people don't post that you're almost automatically in the algorithm, because LinkedIn is not social media. It's not a contest of who's going to have 30.
It's not interest media.
Thousand followers. It's like a lot of the guys, especially people that are either C-suite or executive level people, are probably not accepting every single invitation. They're probably much more selective. So they may only have 500, 700, 1,000 people. So when I post, they're seeing it because I'm one of the only people they follow. And what's funny is that they don't interact. They don't like. They don't comment. They don't share.
They're voyeurs.
But then if I go out to dinner, some guy's like, oh, I saw you did X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, what is this guy? Must have Instagram. No, he doesn't. I look and he doesn't. And then I realize, like, he's watching from his he's doom scrolling LinkedIn the way that I doom scroll Instagram. And they're probably a couple of years older than me, you know, but
I have another buddy who's helped me.
They're on there.
I have another buddy helped me with the podcast, and he's got a media company owner, Haas Media, give them a love. He cold DM a dude who sold his company for $15 billion. I don't know who it was or whatever. And he just said, will you come on my podcast? Mm-hmm. And he had to hit up a bunch of people. And the guy was like, you know what? No one has ever asked me about a podcast. So think about a C-level executive guy or even a CEO of a company doing $350 million of revs, right? Mm-hmm. Still typically a small company, mid-sized company. But that guy's like, you know, he maybe wants to be asked to be on a podcast. Mm-hmm. And most people don't because they're intimidated. Mm-hmm. And they're human. So they're on Instagram watching their kids. They're on Facebook watching their family. And they're on LinkedIn watching their competitors and or the people they want to buy from. Mm-hmm. To your point.
Yeah.
Recently I put up something, whole life versus IUL online. It's always a big battle in the life insurance space on estate planning and what the area I work in. And like, dude, 10,000 impressions, 84 comments. I usually don't get shit on there. I post the podcast reels or some of my other stuff, and no one engages. But obviously it's something that maybe people aren't utilizing, including myself.
Well, I've been testing the waters on LinkedIn to do less. I usually will post my highlights in business. On my company page, we post everything. But on my personal page, I'll only do if it's like a big transaction. But lately, I've been testing, like, my son caught his first bass. He's 5. So I posted the picture. And, like, the amount of people that are C-level guys that grind it out every fucking day.
They have a son, too.
They have a son, too. And they're like, dude, that's what it's all about. And that's like when real recognizes real. It's like, you get it. You're
a good dude.
Wildly successful. You're managing all these people. You're killing it in business, but you're a dad first. And that's when they're like, I want to work with that guy.
So you said something earlier, and we're talking about social media, and I hope this is helpful information to people in real estate or whatever. You said you're a smart guy. And a lot of times I allow people to think that I'm dumb. That's fine, right? You think I'm dumb, that gives me a leg up. It gives me 10, 20, 30 steps ahead of you. But what I've done from the get-go on social media is to try to give the most authentic version of Ryan and where I'm at, the good, the bad, the ugly. And what people do, of all levels of wealth, look at that and go, I get it.
Yeah.
I've been there. This dude's telling the real story. This guy's spending time with his kids. It's not so much, and I love the hype reels. I love when we travel. I love going on my friend Rick's jet. I love going in the helicopters. I love all that sick shit. Anybody who tries to act like they don't like that stuff and that wouldn't excite you, you just have a terrible, boring life, and I feel bad for you. And some of that stuff for me is always to troll for the Ryan Hater Club. But everything I post online is living authentically through my emotions. So when people see me put up the phone, or in the past before they banned me and I had 20,000 views per post, like that was authentically Ryan. Whether I was fired up, passionate, angry, whatever the fucking emotion was, I gave it to you real. So when you're posting just simple things like your kid and living your life, like sometimes people don't give a fuck about your win. They don't care that you sold to Amazon.
Yeah.
Who is Ryan the person?
Yeah.
And that's what everybody's forgetting online. And I'll tell you what, for the people in your brokerage, they're definitely forgetting it in real estate. What car are you driving? What's the fancy clothes you're wearing?
No one wants to see that shit.
Like, dude, honestly, I say this to Trevor forever. Just listed, just sold. Just listed, just sold. So in my business, imagine I got in there, rolled $5 million, sold the $700,000 life premium.
No one cares. Title insurance is even worse. You want to see me post about deeds.
But let's just say you start to figure out what my commission rate is. And most people know in my world, right? We have to disclose fees. So every time I post that I rolled over $5 million and I got X percent, like people are counting my commissions and I'm putting that back in front of my client's face. You're doing that as a realtor. People as a realtor are coming to you, and I hope you realtors fucking listen. The top guys out here need to listen to this. They're sitting there seeing you brag about posting and selling their house and then adding up the numbers that they stroked you a check on. I think it's bad for business. I really do. I think they need to find a whole new approach and get a little bit more creative as to how you market yourself as a realtor. Be a human. Go, if you like fishing, go do more fishing videos and float in there that you sell real estate. If you're into hunting, go hunt. Post your hunting stuff. Don't just post just listed, just sold, and you're shoving commissions back in everybody's face.
No, my
and maybe I'm picking on realtors too much, but it's something
I've
I
always agree.
It's
like that's great. You're pretty. There's 95% of the rest of them are pretty too. Who cares?
Yeah, you're hot.
What are you doing?
You're a handsome dude. And
But I think my content, I post way more than your average probably business owning 44-year-old, but mine is probably 99% lifestyle. I'm either golfing with my kids, I'm hunting, I'm showcasing local restaurants. That's something I've always liked to do, is give back to other local businesses altruistically. I'll post my dish of where I'm eating at or whatever, and that gives them a shout out and they appreciate it, and then maybe they think about me one day. Maybe not. Right. Yeah, right, exactly. So
Why
it's
are we
like,
doing what we're doing today?
I try to keep it like, just keep top of mind, showcase who I am, what my interests are. I'm very much like you. I'm very outspoken about politics. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. I'm set in my ways with all sorts of certain things.
I don't say anything about politics.
I'm very opinionated, but I also have conviction, and I'm not going to bend for anybody.
But here's the example.
I believe what I believe.
In case these realtors just missed that, what you said and what I said. People are going to connect with you, the human. That's in any sales. That's going back to sales 50, 60, 100 years ago. People buy from you. So they trust you, they like you. So let's just say you're a Harley dude and you sell real estate, and all of your videos online are you working on your Harley or riding your Harley or going on a trip with your wife on the back on the Harley. Guess what? That person likes you, and they realize that you filter in that you do real estate. So when that guy's ready to sell or buy a secondary property, he's like, oh, Ryan hunts. He's a fucking good dude. I follow his page because he posts hunting videos. I'm going to give him a shout. And that's how it works. I've made millions of dollars on social media that exact way.
Well,
but this world that we're living in as business owners, this past year, there was more restaurants that went out of business than post-COVID. Like, dude, Jamie, for me, clean bro. I hear him talk about it all the time. It's not something I'm sharing that I shouldn't. He talks about it right on his stories. Like, the dude's just getting beat up left and right. He's got private equity coming to their space. They're losing money hand over fist by the millions, and they're just spending money to put him out.
It's because everything's becoming institutionalized.
Everybody's becoming institutionalized.
It's crazy.
And there's a war on small business, which is like what this whole podcast started about.
It makes it so hard. And I think it started with Obamacare, and then they just kept adding
There's
on.
many things.
And pushing
taxes.
on. And now insurance premiums went up 20-something% this year on everybody. And it's like, dude.
They've been going up for fucking 12 years.
The f do I get to make money?
Yep.
And it's like, you wake up some days and it's like, I love what I do. I love having people depend on me to feed their families. I love it. But some days it's like, why the f am I doing all this? Like,
yep.
These people are guaranteed X because that's what they signed up for. I might fucking lose money next year. Who knows? I might make 8 figures. I might lose 200 grand. Who knows?
This is why you got to take massive risk.
You got to be an animal.
Because if you're not an animal and you don't take massive risks to take that jump, because there is a jump. Once you go to a certain level of liquidity, I say it's 10 million, a certain level of liquidity, you can make different moves. You have different taxation plays.
Yeah.
You know, charitable LLC is something that's actually been taken advantage of by Mitt Romney and Mark Zuckerberg as two of the most well-known people who do it. There's a lot of wealthy people that we have helped it with. But more or less what Mark did with Facebook, before Facebook went public, he went and donated his stock to a charity that's held in a charity and an LLC. And then he didn't do this part, but you could take an 85% deduction off your income. And if you don't use that in the first year, you have a 5-year carry forward. By the 5th year, if you don't use it up, it's gone. But that's not the big piece. The big piece is when Facebook sold for what it did, and he had that massive appreciation. Now, any stock he sells back, he takes out as a loan to himself, which is interest deducted, and he takes it as a loan. What most people need to realize in America, I have a $3 million home. If I take 1.5 out tomorrow, that's not money I'm paying tax on. Right? And I'm going to deduct the interest, depending on how I float it into my business, all by IRS tax law. So think about how these people run things.
Yeah.
That's the smartest guy in the world.
Yeah, they're taking credit off of shares.
They're taking credit off of shares.
Which is very hard to get to that level. And I don't hate on them. I love them, and I would love to get to that level.
But you have to get to a certain level to do
it. It's really hard to get there.
You got to get to a certain level.
You have to invent fucking Facebook to get there, or Amazon.
That's not true. I think you could have $10 million and do that type of planning all day long.
10 million is a big number. Most people never see that.
Correct, but I'm just saying it's not $1 billion.
Yeah, right, but still.
You can do it. It's just that type of planning usually doesn't trickle down to that level because you don't have the right advisors and/or accountants and tax people that help you confidently make that move and say, I'm not going to go to jail.
Yeah, right.
But that is a legal thing that someone like Mark Zuckerberg fully took advantage of.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to have a certain level of wealth to be able to fully take advantage of all these things.
Yeah.
And that's why, in my opinion, the system is set up to keep you right at this kind of number,
Yeah,
right?
they have us stuck in a mousetrap.
And the only way you get past that, and this is for anybody who watches this, is taking big risks.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the tortoise doesn't win the race, slow, steady Eddie, save your money, live in a smaller house, don't go on vacation. I'm not here to live that way. I'm here to go big, and if I break in the meantime, then so be it.
Well, that's kind of, so my whole business structure, like my residential company, the way I actually look at it, I look at it all, it's paper, right? Even though it's physical assets and there's people and there's moving parts and it's a business.
It's paper walls.
My residential brokerage is basically my hedge. That's always going to be hitting base hits for me. It's going to cover my overhead salaries. It's going to pay my rent. It's going to keep seltzer in the refrigerator. I'm not getting rich off of that unless I scale it, which I am very slowly. That's my slow moving animal. So while that is slowly, that's my engine. That keeps the engine on so that I don't have to go to the bank for money or whatever. While that's kind of just percolating and taking on a life of its own with me managing it, I'm taking fucking risk with the other stuff.
Yep.
And the stuff that I do, the commercial stuff, dude, it took me 7 years to get one deal done one time. Can you imagine waiting 7 years for a fucking commission check to come in?
That's a long sales cycle.
If I didn't have that engine going, that opportunity doesn't exist for me. So I have to take this hedge and manage all of this shit in order to even take that fucking risk, which I connected on it. So great, good for me. I won that bet, big time.
But even that to most people.
But
is
if I
like,
didn't have that,
oh, that's so
setup,
much work. I got to manage this company
Right.
that pays my fixed bills. I have that with Patriot
and then it's
Payments.
like, all right, now that I'm in this new risk factor, now I can add the title in the middle, which that's an ancillary thing. So now this engine is now feeding this thing that puts me a little bit over top of where I used to be. So now instead of floating at 0, which if I break even on my residential company, I'm happy. Luckily, I make money. But if I break even, I'm like, that's good enough. As long as that covers all my lights on expenses, good. Now the title brings me up to here. And now because I'm up to here, now I can take more risk over here. So I'm constantly just adding little
It's your vertical
mechanisms.
tree. I talk about this all the time. It's your vertical tree. And then what is the velocity of Curran properties?
Current properties is slow. I just went.
I'm not saying specifically properties, but Curran's Holding Group and your brokerage as a whole, like what is the velocity? And you're doing that. You're making money on the title. You're making money on the residential. You're making money on the risk deals, which is obviously land development.
I'm very happy with where I'm at right now. You know, I'm in a space where, and I've learned along the way too, right? Because I said earlier in the podcast, I'm kind of the genesis of this whole thing. And in my industry,
You are.
control goes a long way. So if I have control of the land assemblage that I put together, and then I'll just use an example. I call Rockefeller Group and I say, hey guys, I think this would be a good fit for you. Why don't you come take a look at this? And they say, we love that. What do we have to do? Give the seller this much money, because that's what it's worth. He's going to be happy. You're going to make the return. By the way, I didn't shop this to all the other 60 people across the country and world that can do this. What do you think about using my title company? We would love to do that. They get it. You don't bite the hand that feeds you. You feed that guy. So now they give me the title. They close on the land. I make my broker commission on the land. I get the title for the land. And then they come to me and they say, hey, we have to pull $100-something million loan to build this thing. We need the title insurance again on that. Can you do that? I can. Let me just make sure my underwriter is going to stamp on this. Hey, underwriter, can you do this for me? Absolutely. Let's go. Yeah, we can do it. All right, we're going to give you that too. Now I made a 3-bagger off of one piece.
Of course.
Because of the control. My first deal I didn't know about that. I learned these things as I went. Now I'm at the point where my firm, and I like to be able to look someone in the eye and tell you that I'm competent in this. For the first 8 years,
You're learning, dude.
I wasn't able to be like, you know what?
I'm an expert.
You know what, guys? I want to do the leasing for your building too. I couldn't do it. I don't know the tenants. But I learned, I become friendly with some of these huge brokerage houses, and I have control. So I can ask, hey, Mark, you've been awesome to work with across the table as another broker. Why don't I ask the guy over here if me and you can partner? Would your company do that? Would you bring me in as a leasing agent so that I can then go look him in the eye and say, hey, look, I'm not competent at that yet. I'm building it and I want to get there. But if this guy's sitting next to me, they do this every day. That's all they do. They're the best. What if he comes and sits next to me? Then you guys can split it. So I'm like building these little verticals as I go because I'm learning the game. It's just a game.
But grabbing control over time
It's all about control.
is what's needed. But most people, let's call them business owners, entrepreneurs, sales contributors, they're afraid of all that responsibility.
Yeah.
But you got to start to realize, like, that's what it takes.
That's what it takes.
If you want to get to that certain level of income, you want to own a nice home, you want to be able to vacation, go to dinner, and not worry about if your cards will be declined or not. Like, that's just the world we live in. And that's capitalism.
Well, I would add this too. Like, I've still had to fight for every inch on that because even though my client is like, yeah, we would love to do that, then it goes up to their corporate attorney, and their attorney is like, well, who the f is this guy, and why would we give him that? Now I have to say, get your f***ing attorney on the phone, and I'm going to get another attorney from the underwriter on the phone, and we're going to find out where your fears are and what you're afraid of, and how can we check these boxes and make everyone comfortable. So that I get told no, and then I have to fight through that. But like, no, let's not say no yet. Let's talk more. So I have to fucking battle through a lot of this shit as well on top of it. Like, I get told no all the time, and I don't take it as an answer, and I'm not a dick about it. I'm just like, no, let's instead of using the word no, why don't you tell me, these are my problems.
You're uncomfortable, and let's keep talking.
Can you solve them for me? And I'm not gonna lie to you, because if I can't do it, I'm not gonna put you and this relationship at risk. I'm a young guy and there's a long way ahead for me.
Yeah.
If I can't do
You're
it,
gonna blow up every relationship forward.
I'm just gonna tell you that I can't do it. But if I can, I'm gonna fight till the death until you give me my yes, because I deserve it. Why not? Why don't I deserve it? Why are we gonna give it to someone else that does the same thing that I do when I handed you a beautiful investment opportunity?
How many people would walk away as soon as they were told no?
Most.
So I want to relate it back to your adversity you went through earlier in life. And I had adversity as well. I thankfully didn't struggle with drugs or alcohol to, to that degree. But I was kicked out of high school, right? And I had these traumatic events that had certain people look at me certain ways and had me thinking about myself certain ways as a younger age. I went through adversity. So when I'm getting punched in the face and I'm cold calling 150 business owners a day about health insurance just to get my foot in the door of business owners, majority of people won't do that. They didn't do that. They still won't do it to this day. So your adversity got you to that place. Would you say that most people who are highly successful went through some tough shit and some adversity in their younger years?
I think a lot.
Unless they're handed shit, unless they're a trust fund baby.
I think a lot.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people did.
Because the rest of the people, they don't want to really like... I'm going to give Vic Muro a shout out. He's a guy who used to be a partner in our firm. He's owner of the firm. He used to say, are you interested or are you committed? Because you can be interested in being successful at real estate or finance, but are you actually committed to being successful at real estate or finance? Those are two very different things.
Yeah.
Meaning committed that I'm going to do whatever it takes, sacrificing of my health maybe, whether people think that's bad or not. Maybe sometimes my family not getting as much time for me, or...
Oh, there's no such thing as balance.
There's balance is the fakest bullshit that's out there. Right? It's counterbalance. So maybe I crushed it in business for 6 months, and that's next 6 months I'm going to spend more time with my family, or I'm going to focus on my health. But you got to be willing to be committed to do almost everything it takes besides doing criminal shit to go be successful at what you're going to do. And I don't think most people are willing to do that nowadays. They talk out of their ass.
No, and like I think like my biggest blessings and what I'm most thankful for is like that adversity. I had, when I got out of jail for the DWIs, that was the second time in jail, I was at such a shitty spot in my life where when I was leaving, when I got discharged, the guard handed me everything that I own in a plastic bag, and most of it was dirty and I didn't want it.
Yep.
Everything I owned was in that bag.
Yep.
I had nowhere to go. My family was not really thrilled to take my phone calls at that time. I burned it to the ground. So when it came into the business side of things, I was like,
I've been in worse spots.
I can live and survive in the wild.
Power of Broke. It's a good book.
And I'm going to be fine. I not only am I going to be fine, I'm comfortable there, and I don't really mind it.
I've done it.
And I just went through an experience like that recently through a marriage issue where I ended up not really having a solid place to call home. And it brought me back, and it lit a fire in my belly. I was like, this is where when I'm fat and happy, I get complacent.
You need to get put
If you
against the
put
wall.
me in the corner and you're hitting me with heavy rights, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, bite your way out.
I'm an animal.
Yeah.
So when it came to business, I was like, well, if I start this thing and it falls on its face, it can't get any worse.
Yep.
But if it goes up, I have nothing but upside risk.
But the people who didn't go through your adversity or my adversity, they still need to realize that's the same thing for them.
It's the same thing.
Okay, you take the leap, you leave your job, and I know guys right now that were in the pit that I try not to talk to nowadays because I like to be real and hold people accountable until you do what you said you're going to do. Mm-hmm. But they have a side business that's doing 200, 300 grand a year, and they're still working for the state. And they just refuse to quit their state job of $80,000 while they're making $350 over here. Their wife hates them. Their kids don't know them, and they're stressed out and angry as because they're just ran to the ground. Like, dude, you built your off ramp. Go into that business. But there's still something in them with this safety switch and this fear of just risk that they can't see themselves to do it. And I wish that more people would just take that leap of faith and just go for it. Worst case scenario, You're somebody that's decent at baking, cooking, computer science, whatever it is that you can do, there's a job out there that's going to hire. If not, maybe the place you actually left.
Yeah.
If you leave on good terms.
Yeah.
What is it
But
gonna hurt?
if you build a life where your overhead and your mortgage is 10 grand and your pool maintenance is 5
hard.
grand and your fucking boat, it makes it much harder. So like if you can do it when you have nothing,
Yeah, do it younger. For sure.
you have less to lose and less whatever.
But that guy who also has all those maintenance things,
Yeah.
and that lifestyle he was living, he probably has some retirement funds.
Yeah, right.
Like, listen,
I think when there's a will, there's still a way.
this is not financial advice. I hold an investment license that's no longer on the shelf. I'm not saying you do this, so if you do this and your lawyer sees this in the future, do not do this. But I have seen people empty their 401k out, pay the 10% penalty, manipulate the tax down to what they can that year with the accountant, and go take a risk on themselves. That 401k ain't going to build you a memory.
Yeah.
That 401k ain't going to give you the lifestyle that you desire. And more than likely, you're going to retire in a higher tax bracket, whether you like it or not, just because of the spending of the U.S. government. So go take that money and take a chance on the life that you want to live. We're here at a short term. We're not here for a long time.
Yeah.
But I'm here for a good time, and I'm going to make sure I'm chasing every single thing I want. And most things that are put in front of you in life are siloed and built by the financial institutions, the U.S. government, and corporations.
Yeah.
And those three things are constantly competing for your dollars.
Yeah.
So
Know how to beat all that?
If products, well, we were just complaining about the fridge, right?
You just got to make more money.
Well, yeah, no, agreed. But like we're talking about the fridge inside, how I had this old boob tube thing that was super cold and it was yellow mustard. And when I built this garage out, I'm like, this thing looks like shit. My
It
wife's
was
like,
built to last.
this new fridge is a piece of shit. The
Yeah.
handle broke off. It's not that cold. Everything
6 months past the warranty break.
planned
date,
obsolescence, right?
It breaks.
That's a corporation way to get money
What a
from us.
coincidence.
But if you're not aware that these three major things, government, institutions, corporations, are doing this to you, how are you ever going to get ahead? Like, it's obviously a passion of mine, as you could tell, and that's why we launched this podcast. And this has been a great conversation. I'm sure I've been going for an hour, hour and a half. This has been very
This
good.
was great. I appreciate the opportunity.
You've given us a lot of wisdom on real estate, going through adversity, and many other topics, and I appreciate it. Cheers.
I didn't plead the fifth once.
You didn't plead the fifth one.
Cheers.
Cheers.